Okay. If you asked me to travel the world and perform in front of hundreds of thousands of people, no worries. I'm good with that. I've done that. That's all good. Ask me to stand in an intimate room in front of my co-workers, my friends, my family, and then I have to speak about my life. There might be some worries there. So, so whether it's for the free food, because the food was really good tonight, or to listen to Chris solo, how amazing was he? Some genuine curiosity, or to learn a bit about who I am. Shout out to the amazing people that are here just to support me, especially those people that have never been to a FaithFeed before. My bad. Thank you for being here. So whether you know me or don't know me, you are welcome. I hope to continue this safe space. I feel like we're in a real safe space here. But if anything I talk about tonight is triggering or challenging, just invite you just to wave to Al and Donnie there, like in the back, and they'll be more than happy to help you out. Now, a big part of a FaithFeed storyteller is to tell you stories. Full disclosure, my memory is really bad. So I'm hoping that the memories that I have in my head are right. So my bad if they aren't. But I can start here. I know this. I come from a big Tongan family, born and raised in Bathurst. And most times it's loud and it's fun and it's exciting. My family are just right there, so I can see it. And sometimes it's too loud. Okay, it's too loud and it's messy and it's complicated. I'm the second youngest and I've experienced strong leadership through my beautiful parents and my wonderful siblings. So then when you mix all that goodness with other moments that life throws at you, I firmly believe that I'm never alone. And growing up around people who were strong-willed, yet they humbly gave back to whatever community they belonged to, whether it was church or school or work, even like government community stuff. They helped me shape the person I am today. Service towards others and carrying a strong sense of belief in self is really important to me. And I see people as people and hope that I can treat everyone with dignity and humility because it's grounded by my faith. And it's something my dad taught me. So let me take you back to 2012, where my community called Brothers and Sisters in Christ Growing in Faith Together, aka Basic Gift, aka Basic, are you ready? Ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Yep, so that community was a thriving community that was living. I didn't tell them to do that, by the way. They literally just did that. I haven't seen Michael in like years and he just did that. It was beautiful. And that particular community, we were living off the fruits of World Youth Day Sydney and World Youth Day 2011 Madrid. And during this time, it was a crucial point of my life, actually, because my faith went from a cultural or a family faith to a genuine personal encounter. And I also saw a clear path to my dream job and had been offered actually opportunities in the entertainment business that I thought was my future path. I was very comfortable where I was and the world was literally my oyster. However, something in my gut was challenging my comfort and I yearned for something more, something deeper and something more intentional. At the time I thought I was at the finish line. I had succeeded and was ready to keep working towards the career, only to discover that I was actually at a crossroads. Even though I thought my heart was full, I was still searching for more. And it wasn't until I surrendered to knowing that my chosen career wasn't what I truly desired. I knew I had to continue that search. This didn't happen overnight. This process was a long process that simmered in the background over many years, actually, while I worked so hard to do the thing that I thought I loved, only to realize while I was at the point of doing it, I had no desire to do it at all. And it made me uncomfortable, it made me frustrated, because I questioned everything I came to know, and But it also helped me understand that over time, it wasn't what I truly desired. So when I turned towards another path to search for that desire, it led to an opportunity which I said yes to. But what I didn't realize was where that yes would take me. You know when you think you know someone, but the circumstance might change or something happens and all of a sudden that person becomes unrecognisable. Well, I thought I knew God, but I didn't. I thought when I said yes to God, I assumed he had a plan of some sort. But what I didn't realise was that in saying yes, I also said yes to the unknown. Call it blind faith, cockiness, or being very naive. I assumed that I had the training, the skills, the knowledge that equipped me for this new road ahead. However, I didn't consider how vital and rare it was to belong to a thriving faith community, full of lifelong friends, while also being surrounded by the love and support of family. So when I accepted a job 6 hours north and moved to a small town, which, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful place filled with wonder and awe. However, its faith community didn't match my own experience. And there were times where I really struggled to fit in. And I was thinking, like, what was God thinking? I vividly remember months into this role, I was introduced in front of the local school, and the brief was that I had 5 minutes to 1, introduce myself, 2, say where I was from, 3, just casually talk about my faith, 4, invite them to the church, no pressure at all. So it's not surprising that 2 seconds into my speech, I knew that no students were listening. I felt like an alien. I felt that no matter where I was coming from, who I was, they weren't going to give me the time. And what's worse was how heavy that pressure felt on my new role. If these students are going to shun me, they're never going to show up. And no training, no knowledge, no skills can really help you prepare for the moment like that. See, looking back at this time, I thought I was a finished product and I could become a resource to anything and everyone around me. But slowly and surely, I started to see cracks in my life that I'd never seen before. Blind faith with no responsibility, inexperience in this context, no understanding of the realities beyond my faith experience, feeling ill-equipped, which, that questioned my whole sense of self. And I thought I was a finished product. I didn't have to learn anymore. So I had a choice to either rely on trust in my yes, trust in the unknown, and trust that something bigger was happening, and lean into it. Or say no and come back home, which obviously I didn't say no, because you would have known me a long time ago. I would have been back here. So I circled back to the speech in front of the 1,200 students, 100 plus staff, who didn't care about me. And I had to completely rely on intuition deep inside, living like beyond the cracks I was talking about before. And it told me to sing the rest of my speech. And so I did. I just chose whatever songs was trending at the time, changed my speech in real time, and just did this 5-minute thing. And by the end of it, I can guarantee you that every single person in that room was listening. And whether it was a success or not, I chose to lean into the unknown. And the more I did this, the more it led to me to some of the most unforgettable times of my life. This helped me understand that these cracks in my life, being naive, prideful, questioning my sense of self, meant that I'm incomplete. Yet I've come to discover that these cracks are the beauty of life. And if I don't acknowledge them or spend time with them, they'll continue to grow and separate parts of life that should be connected. And so there's still so much to learn about myself. And from where I thought I was finished, in embracing the incomplete parts of myself, I'm actually making space for God to work, and that's where transformation could happen. And as I've continued to grow, I've realised just how vital community is. I have an amazing group of friends from Basic Gift who I've known for 19 years. And these friends really see me, they know me, and they love me for who I am. I hope they do this. Okay, thank you. They challenge me, they support me, and have become a huge part of my spiritual and personal growth. These friendships aren't just about having fun. They're a true reflection of love in my life. They help me stay grounded, encourage me to grow, and remind me of what truly matters. So I didn't realise how much I needed certain friendships until I didn't have them. When I moved away, I had to redefine what friendship meant. And it wasn't just about shared faith or age anymore. It was about seeing the face of God in people. And even when they were different from me, it's even then when they didn't believe in God or they didn't hold the same beliefs as I did. Face-to-face connections are really valuable to me. So I thought that, even though I had my mates back in Sydney, I had to pivot the way I made friends in this new place. You see, young people generally leave small towns after graduating. So to grow any kind of young adult community, let alone finding friends of your own age, of faith as well, is really difficult. But in choosing to lean into the unknown led to some beautiful lifelong friendships I've made over the years. My new community, we're a whole generation younger than me, and we're into things I was never exposed to, like surfing, playing touch footy at the beach, learning the ins and outs of an RX-7, learn the lyrics and dance moves to all the songs from High School Musical 1, 2 and 3, attend this thing called Beef Week, and receive lectures to actually read Harry Potter series to know who Peeves and Winky are. Through these experiences, it helped me expand the boundaries of what friendships meant to me. So I'm truly grateful that my openness to change meant that I was seeing people around me for who they were, walking alongside each other respectfully, and wanting the other beyond age and beyond belief. 6 years later, I had the incredible opportunity to mentor youth ministers in schools across the Diocese of Lismore, along with some of the most incredible co-workers. And we began to dream big of a thriving youth ministry spanning across schools and towns while accompanying a group of young adults who spent a year or two serving their school community. And this opportunity came from years of walking alongside young people who were searching for more, but were struggling to name what that looked like. They often came up to me and they were full of anxiety or had this sense of numbness. So my willingness to listen often meant offering them a safe space. For years, I'd mentored young people who were fragile, came from struggling and broken families, and were looking to belong. And this new opportunity led to be a vessel for young people to discover what living to the fullest could actually look like. Vessel. Sounds strange. I'll jump back to it shortly. So when you hear the church, sometimes it comes across as rules and regulations. Now imagine this. The leaders where I work trusted me so much that they allowed me to create a diocesan band that just kept evolving and growing into its own ministry. And it blew my mind that these people were directors of missions and priests and bishop who trusted in my leadership capacity when they could have just casted my opinions aside. This became another community where my yes challenged me to go deeper into the unknown. And as a result, I've made even more long life friends. In mentoring these young adults, I became their worship leader. And in return, they became my new faith community where I truly witnessed God working in the other. I can never put to words how incredible it was for me to witness a kid I knew to be interested in God, or the God thing is what they call it, and they having an encounter with God at a Catholic youth conference. And then this same kid comes back to class and shares their story so vulnerably with all their mates, discovers their love of prayer through music, Then watch them MC said conference for the following year, find out that they said yes to a youth ministry role post-graduation, invite them to be part of the Dio band that you're starting up, go from singing for them and then standing beside them while you mentor them, accompany them in the band to build their skills, build their knowledge, teach them how to pray, how to lead, how to follow, show them how to worship, and then watch them grow into a strong worship leader. The band becomes a worship team, then you start writing original Catholic music together, then you watch them critique the next young graduate, and years later that same kid is now employed in your team. So many stories I have, and I would never know that my yes led to such powerful accompaniment. Vessel, this is what I meant, that it's not about me. It's about giving my time, my presence, myself away so that someone else can flourish. So when it came to leave my friends up north, I didn't realize how much I was going to miss them. 10 years, it's a long time. And I was ignorant in thinking that I'd be okay without them. But when you grow and journey with people for that long, they become a part of you. And when it's time to say goodbye, you enter a time of grief where you mourn their absence from your life. And to this day, I obviously still miss them so much. I'll never forget the last time I worshipped with this community. It was at an event, and I was so overwhelmed with emotions, I closed my eyes and finished the night off with this last song called Psalm 23. Because I knew if I opened my eyes, I wouldn't be able to finish. And as I sang, I could hear sniffles from the worship team, and one by one, they stopped singing, overwhelmed by it all. And all I could just hear was weeping. But I remember I had to keep going, so I kept my eyes closed, and I kept singing. And the lyrics were hitting me real deep. I was singing over and over again. Alleluia, I'm not alone. He's my comfort, always holds me close. And so towards the end of the song, my voice started getting drowned out by everyone else in the room. But I thought it was just a tech issue, so I just kept my eyes closed. And it wasn't until I opened my eyes after saying Amen, I saw the whole room filled with youth ministers, priests, co-workers, my friends. They were surrounding me and blessing me with their arms over, knowing that even though I was leaving them, I would never be alone. Where are the tissues? Okay. I carry these friendships deep in my heart. I'm joking. Yeah. Especially ones that call me to grow and change and seek beyond myself. I believe they are a true reflection of God's love for me. And so if there's one thing I've learned, it's that love is what gives life meaning. Without love, everything falls apart. Part of why my faith and belief in self is so strong is because I know that I'm loved. And I know this because of my dad. If you knew him, you would know he had such a presence. His family, his friends, and even the prisoners he governed all around New South Wales, they respected him because they knew that he saw them as people and treated everyone with dignity and humility. After I said yes and moved away, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and was given 3 to 6 months to live. So what was confusing for me was that even though it was really serious, my yes meant that I would live away from him during this difficult time. Naturally, and especially because I'm his daughter, you would think I'd move back home to be with Dad during this time. And there was a time where I moved back temporarily. But this was when I truly experienced discernment and how saying yes to the unknown also means saying no to the other. When he was diagnosed, he chose to devote his life to the divine mercy. And for the next 6 years, he kept fighting and encouraged me not to only keep going and do what I was doing, but he challenged me to keep surrendering to God, to grow and to experience God's intimate mercy, and became that sense of sounding wisdom that reassured me time and time again that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Dad's last 4 months of his life echoed the sorrowful mysteries, wherein his suffering grew such fruits of perseverance and patience and forgiveness. Yet it was also filled with intimate moments that could only be designed by something greater, and these moments will forever be painted in my heart. When Dad was nearing the end of his life, he kept confessing the same sins over and over until the priest finally told him, he's like, "You've already been forgiven by God." It's like, you need to forgive yourself. And something in him clicked. And in that moment, he seemed changed. During this time, my mum and I would pray the daily gospel with him. So after that last confession, it happened to be the feast of the feast of the presentation. My dad's Tongan name was Simeone, and in English, it translates to Simeon. In the feast of presentation in the Bible, there's this line where after Jesus is born, he is presented in the temple. And a man named Simeon was there, and it had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not die before he had seen the Lord's Messiah. And I remember reading that line and pausing, and looking at Dad, and him gazing back at me. We just shared this sacred moment of peace. And after we finished the prayer, and something compelled me to ask him. I was like, "Dad, have you seen the Lord?" And he was like, just really quietly, it was just him and I in the room, and he was like, "Yes, I have." And so in a moment of blessed assurance came upon me, and I realized that God was finished with him. My dad taught me that God speaks to you in every moment. But in order to hear him, you need to forgive others, yourself, your past, your future, because only through that forgiveness you will have the freedom of knowing and experiencing God's love. I struggle with finishing talks, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's just my experience over the years of God not being done with me yet. I mean, nearly 2 years ago, I thought I was living my best life in Port Macquarie, living in a thriving community over there, and had the best job that was tailor-fitted to the gifts that I had. But then there was that inkling, again, a movement deep inside calling me to lean into the unknown. And that thing I've come to recognize as God. So now 2 years later, I'm in a different team, surrounded by a different community again, leaning into adult faith formation, walking alongside refugees in our awesome Catholic Youth Parramatta, advocating for those who have no homes and discovering what a listening church could be. And I've come to know it will keep happening if I keep saying yes. I don't know where my yeses will take me, but I'm trusting in saying yes to the unknown. So, in knowing God is not finished with me yet,